Oh, hello there. Yes, well, 'twas the week before Christmas. I'm pleased to say. Yeah, I'm very much counting down the lessons. It's what we do as teachers. Unfortunately, we tend to have that kind of ticking clock mentality. But our days and weeks and months and years are split into such cycles. Anyway, yes, looking forward to some downtime. Quite often, some of the people, quite often, some of the people, some of the time, occasionally, I meet young people that don't very much enjoy Christmas because they don't really like being at home because their parents are appalling. And today I'm going to talk about appalling adults. Yes, I think a lot of the right-wing commentators missed a trick at the weekend because, of course, we did have the appalling sight of a blind guy winning Strictly. I mean, all these wokists ringing up just because the bloke's disabled, some sort of sympathy vote. I mean, why hasn't he got a real job as opposed to merely dancing, eh? Yes, I imagine they'll only be happy if we have some deeply unpopular ex-Tory MP that can't dance that gets voted in week. Oh no, hang on, that's been done, hasn't it? Anyway, yeah, today I just wanted one generically, if you like, to slag off baby boomers because there was a lot of this stuff in evidence at the weekend. You know, the whole sort of thing whereby people get very my age, broadly speaking, not me obviously because I'm lovely, but other people my age and above get really upset about the most minute things and then complain bitterly about snowflake younger generations. But very astounded, quite astounded. I was astounded. It's just a word that stands on its own. The Daily Telegraph manages to suggest that a benefit gig involving Paul Weller, might come back to him, for people in Gaza was a bit political and actually managed to mention things which seemed to suggest that Israel wasn't entirely lovely. Now, you may well have noticed, because I notice all the time, that this is a paper that's very, very, very concerned about notions of free speech and about what people can and can't say. And here you have an archetypal boomer who's very much engaged, and yet I think the Daily Telegraph somewhere along the line still earnestly believes that it's 1982 and that he somehow represents da youth. Yeah, I mean, you might remember him back in those times. He was forever being interviewed on BBC as da voice of da youth, and I remember, even though I quite liked the Jam in those days, they were probably the first band that I got into big time. Even then, I remember thinking, oh, for God's sake, I think he's in his 30s now. Anyway, yeah, they're wearing flared trousers, as Rick would say. Yeah, but I mean, it's just astounding that someone can get upset. Someone in the audience had basically taken photographs or video and went away upset. If you don't want to go to a benefit to Gaza and hear something slightly negative about Israel, don't go to a benefit for Gaza. And for God's sake, it's Paul Weller. He has a certain reputation for being vaguely left of centre. Jeez. Anyway, speaking of which, of course, brings us on neatly to the whole cancel culture thing and the terrible woes that the newspapers are still moaning about Alison Pearson because she had to put her slippers on and go downstairs or something. But there was this brilliant story about a Tory peer who basically had done that classic boomer thing, yeah, them again, of basically being quite racist, and for some reason people felt it was really, really dreadful that people should, pull her up about this, particularly brown people. And so we had this from Daniel Hannan in the Telegraph. In the 18th century, saying the wrong thing got you banned from Parliament. Those times are back. Yes. Cancel culture is dismissed as a figment of the right-wing mind. Lady Myers' case shows that the phenomenon is all too real. Yes, and it's one of those classic stories that when you actually scratch the surface of it very, very slightly, what you discover is that the way it's presented in the right-wing press is that she just happened to innocently say something that was just really entirely innocent, which may not be vaguely misconstrued as being racist. But what you and I really well know is that isn't exactly what went on. Now, why is it that we have to make excuses for people in their 60s and 70s who just can't manage to learn things, yeah? Why don't they grow up and join the real world? You see, I can use these arguments myself, but I just find it astounding that these arguments are never used against these people. Yeah? 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 Why do we have to go easy on bigots simply because they're 67? Eh? Yeah, no one goes easy on me because I'm 61. Oh, well, you have to just understand, he's a bit of a moron because, ever since he's got in his 50s, he can't even think straight. No, of course I can't. I haven't been thinking straight since I was 14. But yeah, I'm just astounded by this. And all that's happened to her is that she's basically having to go away and think about it for, 3 weeks, I think it is. So, it's not exactly the worst thing in the world. But, of course, what these people do is that they take all of those pleasant, nice things that we've gained from liberalism, if I can use that phrase generically, and then throw it back at us, yeah? Because we can't have anything, because they always want to say no to it. And obviously it's never in a kind of racist way. Oh, no, 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 no. It's always in another way. Or indeed, we can't have houses built. And not that, I think it's vitally important that houses are built somewhere in the middle of Oldham, but so long as they're not around me. And certainly so long as they don't involve some people that, I might not like. I mean, the Mail had this one, right? Fury at bid to build Britain's biggest Muslim cemetery as billionaires Issa Brothers submit plans for a 48-acre burial site. Which, yeah, if you look at the article, down below, it's got that classic boomer NIMBY thing about saying, oh, we're a bit worried about environmental stuff and traffic. Yes, you're not, are you? That isn't the issue, is it? No, of course it isn't. But that's always acceptable. And if it isn't acceptable for some magical reason to people like me, well, I'm just trying to cancel people, aren't I? Yes. Boomers. Can't stand them. Myself included. I blame me for all the ills of the world, even though I'm in no way, shape or form responsible for them. Anyway, enough of that. You get the general gist. Yeah. But, I mean, my God, imagine going to a benefit concert for Gaza, right? And being upset that people there make comments about alluding to genocide, alleged genocide, in Gaza. Or imagine just being upset at somebody suggesting that there's a burial site somewhere, yeah? The wrong sort of people. Or imagine being upset just simply because, somebody goes outside because there's a bit of a kerfuffle to go and complain about the noise and then gets banged up for 8 months, yeah? Yeah, a bit like all those rioters. Yeah, all them poor people that we must feel really, really sorry for, mustn't we? Yeah, because, what did they do wrong other than simply riotous affray? In a nutshell. Anyway, do have a gorgeous Monday. I'm very pleased I'm going to be at home, and I'm very pleased to be winding down in so many different ways. Yes, do enjoy, if you can.